You know what they say about a mother's intuition? Well, mine was screaming so loud that day, it could have woken the dead. There I was, standing in the garden entrance of Riverside Manor, watching my only son Robert, about to marry what I thought was the woman of his dreams. But when those words cut through the wedding ceremony like a knife, everything changed. "What the hell are you doing here? You were crossed off the list yesterday." That's what she said to me. Amanda Parker, my future daughter-in-law, the woman I'd spent $38,000 helping create the perfect wedding for, the woman wearing my grandmother's diamond bracelet. And there she was, telling me I didn't belong at my own son's wedding. My name is Dorothy Miller, though most folks call me Granny Dot. I'm 67, been widowed for 8 years since my Harold passed. Robert's my only child, and after losing his father, I became protective, maybe more than a little. Robert's 40, works as an accountant, never been married. Then 6 months ago, he came home with stars in his eyes, talking about this incredible woman he'd met at the animal shelter where he'd been volunteering. Amanda Parker was beautiful, long auburn hair, green eyes that sparkled, and this way of making you feel important. She worked at the Animal Rescue Center, dedicated to saving abandoned pets. The first time he brought her home for Sunday dinner, she charmed me completely. She complimented my pot roast, asked about my garden, and when she saw Harold's photo, she actually teared up. "He looks like such a kind man, Mrs. Miller. You must miss him terribly." She helped with dishes afterward, insisting that since I'd cooked, I shouldn't have to clean. "You raised an amazing son," she told me. "He's going to make some woman very happy." When Robert proposed on Christmas Eve in my living room, I cried tears of joy. Amanda said yes, with such genuine happiness that I believed our family was finally complete. The wedding planning began. Amanda wanted everything perfect. The venue was $12,000. Flowers, $1,500. Her dress cost $8,000. "Mrs. Miller, I feel so guilty about the expense," she said at the bridal shop. "I never had a family who could afford this. My parents died when I was young. Grew up in foster care. I always dreamed of having a real wedding, with a real family." My heart broke for her. I took her hands and looked her straight in the eye. "Honey, you're family now. And family takes care of family." I dipped into retirement savings, sold Harold's truck, even took a loan against the house. But it was worth it to see Robert's joy. The only thing that bothered me was how Amanda always paid cash. When I asked, she explained she didn't trust banks, having grown up without money. It made sense. But there were inconsistencies. She said she was from Ohio, but mentioned summers in Florida. Claimed she'd never been to college, but knew about art history. Small things that started forming a pattern. The breaking point came 3 weeks before the wedding. I'd driven to Robert's apartment to drop off family photos Amanda wanted for the reception. I had my own key and let myself in quietly. That's when I heard Amanda on the phone in the bedroom. "Tommy, baby, you should see this place," she was saying, her voice completely different. Harder. Calculating. "This guy is so easy, it's almost boring. And his mother? God. What a stupid old woman. She's been throwing money at this wedding like it's going out of style." I froze in the hallway. 4 more weeks, and we can disappear with everything. The old bat even gave me her grandmother's diamond bracelet. I could get $5,000 for that thing easy. My grandmother's bracelet. Robert's got about 40,000 in savings, and I'll bet the old lady has twice that. Yeah, same plan. Marry the target, clean out accounts, disappear during the honeymoon. Target. She called my son a target. I backed out quietly, hands shaking. I sat in my driveway for 2 hours, trying to process what I'd heard. That night, I called Robert. "Son, I need to talk to you about Amanda." "Mom, if this is about wedding expenses again, it's not about money. I think there's something you need to know." Long silence. "Mom, please don't do this. I know you're having trouble letting go. Amanda's not trying to replace Dad or push you out." I tried to tell him what I'd overheard, but it sounded like jealous ravings. Maybe we should postpone the wedding until. Mom, I love Amanda. I'm marrying her whether you approve or not. I hope you'll be there. But if you can't support this, maybe you shouldn't come. He hung up. I felt completely alone. The next morning, I hired a private investigator. Helen Rodriguez specialized in romance scams. You'd be surprised how often I get calls like this. Tell me what you overheard. I told her everything. I'll need a few days for background check. Full name and birth date? Amanda Parker. She said she's 28. 3 days later, Helen called back. Can you come to my office? You'll want to sit down. The woman in the photograph looked like Amanda, but younger, with bleached blonde hair. The name was Tina Brooks. She's 26, not 28. From Phoenix, Arizona, not Ohio. Arrested twice for fraud and identity theft. Never worked at an animal shelter. Helen opened another file. The man on the phone? Tommy Martinez, her ex-boyfriend and former partner, also her victim. He filed charges 6 months ago for cleaning out his bank account. She's been running cons for 4 years. Always targets single men with money. Gets engaged quickly, gains access to accounts, then disappears after the wedding. I felt cold, calculated anger. Can you reach Tommy Martinez? Tommy called me within hours. Helen said you wanted to talk about Tina? His voice was defeated. She's engaged to my son. They're marrying in 2 weeks. Yeah. That sounds right. Nice guy. Good job. Money saved? And she's perfect, sweet, tragic backstory about being orphaned? How did you know? Because that was me 8 months ago. I gave her everything. Bank accounts, jewelry, clothes, a car. Woke up one morning and she was gone. Accounts empty. Cards maxed out. Tommy, I have an idea. But I need your help. Over the next week, we planned Operation Wedding Crasher. Let Amanda think she'd won, then expose her when it would hurt most. I called wedding vendors, changing payment to the bride's family, and giving them Amanda's number. I told Robert I was visiting my sister and wouldn't be back until after the wedding. Mom, you can't miss my wedding. Amanda made it clear I'm not welcome. Better if I stay away. The morning of the wedding, I parked behind catering trucks, wearing my best navy dress. I waited until Amanda arrived, then moved through the garden, staying hidden behind oak trees. Amanda looked stunning in the $8,000 dress and my grandmother's bracelet. But when she walked down the aisle, I saw her eyes sweep the crowd with cold calculation, assessing who had money. This wasn't a bride. This was a predator. I texted Tommy. She's walking down the aisle. You're on. The pastor had just asked, do you, Amanda Parker, take Robert Miller to be your husband, when it happened? Actually, her name is Tina Brooks, and she's already married to Arizona's Department of Corrections. Tommy Martinez walked in wearing a sharp black suit, carrying documents. Every head turned. I watched Amanda's face change. Confusion, recognition, terror. Tommy, what are you doing here? Her voice was different now, higher, nasal. What are you doing here, Tina? Last I heard, you were supposed to be in court in Phoenix. Robert stepped forward. Amanda. Who is this man? Robert, honey, I don't know what this is about. This man is disturbed. Disturbed? You stole $43,000 from me and disappeared. Tommy opened his folder. Phoenix Police Incident Report. Filed against Tina Brooks, also known as Amanda Parker. Charges include identity theft, fraud, grand theft. Guests were murmuring. Robert looked shocked. That's impossible. Amanda grew up in foster care in Ohio. She grew up in Phoenix with both parents and 2 brothers. Parents are alive and well. Amanda turned to Robert with tears. Robert, baby, please. This man is my ex-boyfriend. He's been stalking me. Tommy pulled out his phone and played an audio recording. Amanda's voice filled the pavilion. Tommy, baby, you should see this place. This guy is so easy, it's almost boring. And his mother? God. What a stupid old woman. Robert's face went white. That's not me. He doctored it. Should I play the part where you talk about selling his grandmother's bracelet? The one you're wearing? Every eye turned to the diamond bracelet. That's when I stepped out from behind the oak tree. Actually, I gave you that bracelet as a gesture of welcome. But now I'd like it back. You! Amanda spun around. You did this. You brought him here. Yes, I did. Because someone had to protect my son from a woman planning to rob him blind. That's a lie. She's jealous. She can't stand that you chose me. Tommy stepped forward again. Then explain this. He pulled out another paper. Marriage certificate. Tina Brooks to Marcus Williams. Las Vegas. 6 months ago. Never divorced. This whole ceremony is a sham. Silence. Robert slowly took Amanda's hand, looking at the bracelet. This was my great-grandmother's bracelet. Robert, I can explain. You said your parents were dead. You said you'd never been married. You said you worked at an animal shelter. Nothing left to say. Take it off, Robert said quietly. What? The bracelet. Take it off. She fumbled with the clasp, finally got it undone. She held it out to Robert, but he shook his head. Give it to my mother. She walked over and held out the bracelet. I'm sorry, she whispered. I took it, feeling its familiar weight. No, you're not. But you will be. Sirens. Tommy had called police. 3 squad cars arrived, 6 officers walked in. Tina Brooks? You're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, and violation of bail. As they read her rights, Amanda turned to Robert. Robert, please, I do love you. Robert looked at her with pity. I don't think you know what Love Island. They led her away in handcuffs, still in her wedding dress. After police left, silence settled. 200 people in wedding attire, standing around an altar where no wedding would happen. The pastor spoke first. Well, this is a first for me. Nervous laughter. Robert walked over. Mom, I'm so sorry. I took his face in my hands. You have nothing to apologize for. She fooled all of us. No, she didn't fool you. You tried to warn me. You were in love. Love makes us do stupid things. What do we do now? I can't ask everyone to just go home. I looked at our friends and family, still here despite everything. We have a party. We've got food, band, open bar. So we celebrate. Celebrate what? That you didn't marry a criminal, that our family is intact. That sometimes when everything goes wrong, it's actually everything going right. And we did. The caterers served dinner. The band played. People laughed and drank champagne. It was a celebration of truth, of family, of real love. Robert gave a speech. I thought I was getting married today. Instead, I found out my mother loves me enough to risk our relationship to save me from the biggest mistake of my life. He raised his glass. To my mom, Dorothy Miller, who taught me the most important thing about love isn't falling into it. It's knowing the difference between the real thing and a pretty lie. Later, we sat on the terrace. How did you know? Robert asked. Your father said when something seems too good to be true. It Island Amanda never disagreed with you, never challenged you. The right woman for you will fight with you sometimes. She'll be a person, not a fantasy. I was so afraid of being alone. Loneliness makes us vulnerable. The trick is learning the difference between someone who wants to share your life and someone who wants to take it. 3 months later, Tommy called. Tina got 5 years in prison. The investigation found 6 other victims, including an elderly widower who lost his retirement. Robert's doing better. He's in therapy, volunteering at a support group for romance scam victims. Thousands of people run these cons, Mom. They target lonely people, people grieving, people who want to be loved. I've learned something about myself. When someone tries to hurt my family, I don't just get mad. I get even. And I'm very good at it. Helen Rodriguez offered me a private investigator license. The idea of tracking down con artists has appeal. Robert's dating Sarah now, another scam victim from his support group. She argues with him about politics, makes terrible coffee, has laugh lines from a hard but beautiful life. She's real. Last Sunday, Sarah asked what I would have done if Tommy hadn't helped. I would have found another way, whatever it took. Even if Robert never spoke to you again? Even then. Sometimes love means being the villain, if that's what it takes to save someone. Robert and Sarah got engaged 3 weeks ago. Simple proposal on my porch. I think we should get married. Yeah, I think we should too. Small wedding in my backyard under Harold's oak tree. I'm officiating. Because you taught us what real love looks like, Sarah said. Not the fairy tale version, but the real thing. The kind willing to fight for what matters. I keep my grandmother's bracelet in a jewelry box now, next to Harold's ring. Tina never understood what it represented. 3 generations of love. Commitment to protect what matters most. Harold always said I was too stubborn to stay retired. Maybe it's time to find out what other trouble this dangerous old woman can get into. So if you're listening, and you're in love with someone too good to be true, whose stories don't add up, remember this. Trust your instincts. Ask questions. Do research. And if someone who loves you tries to warn you, listen. And if you're a con artist targeting lonely people, think again. Because somewhere out there is a 67-year-old woman with a private investigator license and nothing left to lose. And she's really, really good at her job.